Today on Outside the Box Reviews, we are taking a look at the NECA Aliens Wave 5 Lieutenant Ellen Ripley figure. And this is it, the one I've been waiting for at least. More than anything else in this set, I really just wanted my Aliens Ripley figure. The last wave gave us our first two Ripleys, both from the original Alien, and while those are cool, to me this is the real iconic, awesome version. It doesn't help my hype that in just a few weeks we should have the power loader hitting shelves, but I honestly think if NECA was only going to do one Ripley figure, this is the one they needed to hit. So does this live up to the hype? Well, let's take a closer look. Ripley comes with her makeshift flamethrower pulse rifle combination here, and it looks fantastic. It's funny, when I first got out of the package, I was kind of thinking, this doesn't look exactly right. There's some things on here that don't match up. But it turns out they just didn't match up with my memory of the movie. They match up exactly with the film. Back here we have the black tape connecting the back end of the rifles, which is film accurate. In my mind, after just reviewing those Mini-Mate figures where it was done with white tape, I thought that was actually what it was supposed to be, but nope, it's black tape. And then up here at the front, there's actually no tape. She used the strap coming off the pulse rifle, looped it around the flamethrower, and we can see it's all one big rubber piece that you normally get on the pulse rifle, and really just perfectly well done adaptation of what happened in the film. And these two weapons we'd gotten before. We got the flamethrower with Windrix, and both Hicks and Hudson came with the pulse rifle. But lots of great detail here, a beautiful olive green paint job, lots of scuffs and scratches, just both looking very, very nice. One cool detail I noticed is that the canister here on the flamethrower actually pops off. Now, I'm not sure if this is really intentional or not, but I like the idea that you could take it off and kind of have a reload sequence or something, and it really doesn't detract from the piece. Of course, we do have a rubberized strap up here, so you can put it over Ripley's arm. The only downside being that, like any of these, it kind of sticks straight up most of the time. It'd be kind of hard to get it to stay down, so if you wanted to have the rifle more relaxed or something, it's a little harder to pull off. One more great additional sculpted detail on here is the location tracker taped to the top of the pulse rifle that Ripley uses to track down Newt. A great little touch that would be easily overlooked, and I'm so glad it's here on the gun. As for the sculpt on this figure, I think NECA did a near perfect job on it. Now, last time I felt the same way with the Alien Ripley figure, and people told me I was nuts, but I really do think this is a great likeness to Sigourney Weaver here. It looks a lot like her. The haircut's really well done. It's actually a rubberized hair piece over top. Then we do get some little painted sections there on the head to kind of accentuate the rest of it. The flesh tone is really nicely done. Now, one thing I do notice with this paint job here is that they haven't added a lot of wear and tear on Ripley. This is a little more kind of when she's first going into the alien hive, so she hasn't gotten all scratched up and cut up. I do plan on buying a second one of these figures to keep permanently with my power loader when that finally gets here, and I think I'm going to add a little extra red paint to the face on that one just to give it that scratched up look that she has towards the end of the film. And maybe a dirt wash or something too, just to further the look. But zoomed in here, the detail is really, really nice. After getting that Bishop figure that didn't really look too much like the actor, this has really cleanly painted eyes. The mouth looks great. All the lines in the face are fantastic. I'm just really impressed with the sculpt here. Going down onto Ripley's shirt here, there's still more great detail. We have the harness on hers with the two straps going down. We have plenty of the little grenades sculpted in here. We also have her bandolier full of more grenades. This is a soft rubberized piece, so it's movable, and it actually is removable, which once again, to me, that's perfect because the power loader version wouldn't need it. You have the clips up here, really nicely sculpted. Coming around the back, we see the harness crisscrossing, the big buckle on the bandolier there. Just great attention to detail. And the thing that really got me with this figure, there are sweat stains on Ripley's shirt here. You can see the darker areas around the neck. There's some up on the sleeves as well. And that is a detail you don't often see on an action figure, is sweat stains. And that's kind of impressive. She, of course, has bare arms just like in the film. We have her hands down here, both kind of designed to be a gripping pose so she could hold her weapon. Then we have the little watch down here on the side too, which is a movable piece, which I think is really nicely done. The detailing on that watch for being so small is very, very impressive. And then on the hand, you can even see veins and fingernails sculpted on there, which is a really, really nice touch. Coming down the figure, well, we have the part of the design of the character I've never really liked is the pants that Ripley wore in Aliens. I always thought they were a very odd style. And I think that has something to do with it being the 80s, but they just look very, very strange. But the sculpt matches what they were in the film. Some nice dirt effects going on the pants, a lot of great wrinkles. This whole section is, of course, what I always refer to as the diaper, letting you have more mobility by being a soft rubber piece. But tons of great sculpted wrinkles, and those continue down the legs as well. We have the seams going down the side, some more pockets here on the legs, with the zippers really nicely sculpted and painted in there. And then her really cool outer space high tops. The shoes are definitely straight up 80s and straight up awesome. This looks like something straight out of Back to the Future too, but very cool looking. And then we do have peg holes in the toe, which I also was kind of interesting to put them in the toe. I think it's because there's not much room here with the joint, but unlike the Alien Ripley figure, this is actually deep enough. You can take her and peg her into a NECA stand, and the peg mostly goes all the way in. It doesn't have the tightest fit, but it actually will work as opposed to the other one where she kind of hovers above the stand because of how shallow that peg hole is. For articulation, Ripley has a pretty good amount. Her head is on a ball joint. Can't look particularly far up or particularly far down, but you can move side to side as well as tilt a little bit. If you kind of force the joint a little more, it will go up a bit more than it kind of wants to, but you do have to work with the joint a bit to get it to do those poses. The shoulders of a pin socket joint will go out to the side pretty far, forward and back. Could also hinge here at the elbow as well as swivel. We have a ball joint at the wrist. We have a ball joint here at the waist, so it'll go forward and back as well as rotate. It's a little hard to rotate because of how big the pants are, but it works decently enough. At the legs, she can go forward, back, out to the side, not at all hindered because of the diaper. She could swivel at the upper leg, could bend and rotate at the knee, almost a full 90-degree bend, which is great. And we have a pretty nice ball joint here at the foot, so you can move forward, back, as well as pivot and swivel. And here's our 3 Ripleys side by side, at least the ones we've gotten so far in this NECA line. And of course, the only real fair comparison are the 2 on the left here, the spacesuit Ripley. As I mentioned in that review, really just uses that same body we've already gotten for the spacesuit, so it's not quite in scale with her other versions of herself. But the 2 more casual versions of Ripley, I think, work really well together. And I guess theoretically, if you wanted to, even though it wouldn't be quite the right costume, you could pop the head off this Nostromo Ripley, put it on this new version, and kind of have Ripley at the beginning of the film before she cut her hair. And here she is next to Hicks and Bishop, and I think all 3 of these work pretty well together. Ripley does stand a little taller than Bishop, which I don't think is necessarily true to the film, but I think if you had these all in action poses with each other, you really wouldn't notice that. And then here we have Ripley next to the Alien Warrior and the Xenomorph Egg with Facehugger, and both of them are a little out of frame here, but you get the vague idea. She's definitely much shorter than a Xenomorph standing at its full height, and the egg I still think is just about the right size. And if you haven't guessed by my reaction in this review, I'm really excited about this Ripley figure. I think NECA has done a phenomenal job on it. The articulation's solid, the accessories great, the sculpt I think is spot on, the paint is pretty damn good. I really don't have much to complain about here. So this figure does get a very high recommend. But having it does make me a little disappointed that NECA's pretty much said there's very little chance of getting a Newt figure. And, well, Jason just doesn't cut it in this setup. I'm not even entirely sure what I could use as a good custom base to make a Newt figure. This Jason's a little big and a little expensive. But if anybody has any ideas of something that would make a good starting point that has the right amount of articulation to do a pose like this, let me know. And as I already hinted earlier, I would really like to get another Ripley from earlier in Aliens. Give her the jacket that she has through most of the movie when she's down at the colony. It would really only be a retooled upper body, and you can keep probably the same pants and shoes and everything. And I would definitely be interested in getting the Ripleys from the other 2 films. The bald Ripley from Alien 3, and as much as I hate to admit it, I kind of like the weird Xenomorph hybrid Ripley from Resurrection, so bring it on. I'll pick them up. At this point, we already know the next wave, Wave 6, is based off the video game Alien Isolation, so it'll include 2 versions of Ripley's daughter, Amanda, and the Xenomorph from that game, which is kind of like an upgraded version of Big Chap. We have an Alien vs. Predator Counter Tribute 2-pack coming out, I believe within the next month as well. I already mentioned the Power Loader coming out down the line. And then NECA's already teased that the next wave of Aliens after Wave 6 is going to feature the AVP Xenomorph, which is fitting since they're finally hitting AVP Predators. Makes sense to do that Xenomorph over again. And that has me pretty damn excited because that's the one version of the Xenomorph that I don't have on my toy shelves. So I'm glad to see this Alien line going strong. As much as I love the Predator line, I'm really loving the variety that NECA's getting out of this Alien line. There's a nice variety between getting monsters and humans and androids and accessories, and that's really something I love to see in a line. It's something I loved with the Prometheus line that made me upset when it got cut short, and it's something that's keeping me very, very interested in this Aliens line. Make sure you check me out on Instagram, username Outside the Box Reviews. Also follow me on Facebook, link below. And until next time, this has been another Outside the Box Reviews. Game over, man! Game over!